Hello and welcome to another Franchise Hockey Manager stream. My name is Adam and I'm the Community Manager of Franchise Hockey. With me, as always, and digitally pictured on your screen, is FHM producer Jeff. Say hi, Jeff.
Hey, everybody.
And we are back with Rewriting History, Montreal Canadiens 1928-29 season, Return to Form, Part 18. Jeff, I missed the last time we were doing this, but from what I remember was you still can't win a Stanley Cup again. You've just been blowing it year after year,
Yeah, unfortunately,
right?
the New York Americans are starting to turn into a bit of a dynasty here. I think I'll go through and do a quick preview of all the teams in a second. But just to set this up, if you haven't seen this before, we're replaying a Montreal Canadiens history. We started out in 1909, and we are just coming up on 20 years into that now. Been reasonably successful. We got a few cups. Trying to stick to something approaching what the real Canadiens rosters were like. So we're trying to take only French Canadian players, players who were born in Quebec, or who actually played for the Canadiens. So a bit of a house rule there, and so we're running into some periods where that kind of depletes our roster a bit, which you'll see in a few seconds. One thing I should mention about this season, we are this. One sec. There we go. That is a chart of the goals per game in the NHL over its whole history since 1917. You can see where it was up to last season, a bit over 6 goals a game. It's been relatively stable for the last few years. But if you look on the left side of the chart, that one part where it dips way down under 3 goals a game, and that's for both teams, not just one. That's the season we're in right now, 1928-29, the absolute low point for NHL scoring. So they made some, after it got this ridiculous, I think George Hainsworth of the Canadiens, well, he's not on the Canadiens in this game, but in real life had 22 shutouts in 44 games in this season. I think he's on the Maroons here if I pull up his real life history.
He was pretty good.
Yeah, that's this year here, 44 games, .92 goals against average, and we don't know the number of shots he faced, but managed to get 22 shutouts in the season. So that is just a little bit ridiculous. They took some measures at the end of the season to change the rules to allow a lot more forward passing, and things opened up considerably. I think they scoring nearly doubled the next season. Went up by a huge amount and was never really has dropped back to the levels it was at in the late 20s again. So this season, though, is going to be really low scoring, so probably going to play a fairly tight defensive game, and hopefully that we've got the players to at least get a few goals out of it. Just going to do a quick preview of the teams that are in the league. The Bruins, they've been in the league a few years now. We traded them, Billy Boucher, in the offseason for Nick Wozni.
Jeff, sorry, just a
Yep.
do you have a fan running or something?
Yeah, I've got it fan running behind me because it's like 35 degrees here and I'm cooking.
Okay, fair. Your mic's picking up just a little bit
Let me
on the.
turn it slightly to see if that and get the filter in front of it. Is that any better?
Little bit, yeah, for sure.
Okay.
Move mic closer to mouth, P-Wog says. He says, go Wings. How is Jeff's Leafs doing?
Well, the Leafs are getting better. Well, actually, we'll get that in a sec. So the Bruins are gradually progressing. Their forwards aren't very impressive. Got a couple of decent defensemen, so they're not really going to be a contender this year. Hawks, who basically bought out the roster of the Western League's Victoria Cougar, or no, not Victoria, the Portland Rosebuds, and that's kept them half decent for their first few years in the league. They've got okay goaltending, but no real stars jumping out yet, so they're okay, but again, not a big contender. The Detroit Cougars, who were the ones who bought the Victoria Cougars of the WHL, that brought in Bill Cook, who's 33, still one of the best players in the league. So they'll be fairly strong just on the strength of that. Their goaltending is really questionable, though, so not sure if they're going to be able to hang on. And the team is getting a little bit old, so they're going to have to turn that around soon. There's us. We're still in fairly good shape. Good goalie, decent defensive depth, and the forwards, at least Morenz and Joliard, two big players, are still in their prime, and we're fairly well, not young, but not really getting alarmingly old yet. So we're definitely a contender. Across town from us are the Maroons. They picked up George Hainsworth when the Leafs decided to cut him loose because they've got, as we'll see in a second, they've got better goaltending options. Very good defense. A few good forwards. Joe Primo, who in real life would be a longtime Toronto Maple Leaf, is starting to round into form for them. So they're in pretty good shape.
Okay,
Yeah.
sorry. I'm just gonna stop here. You said Montreal Maroons are the crosstown rival when they play in the same arena.
Well, that's sort of across town.
Okay,
I mean,
okay,
the
sure.
Maroons were the English, supposed to be the English Canadian team, and the Canadians were the French Canadian team.
Uh,
So, and then the Stanley Cup champions, New York Americans. The only real weakness they've got in goal is in goal, which Clint Benedict, and who they're actually trying to move him and get somebody else. But for now, he put up a great year last year. He's only 1.5 stars. He's 36 years old. Showing his career stats. He's been around forever, almost since. No, he actually played in the first season of this game. He was only 17 then, but went to Quebec. We actually had him for a year, and then the Quebec franchise came back, so we had to loan him, had to return him to Quebec. They moved to Hamilton and then on to New York. I should say this is the New York team that's so great right now is mostly what was assembled in Hamilton. It's sort of a like 90s Nordiques and Colorado Avalanche situation where they were putting together a great team in Quebec, and then they moved, and Colorado instantly has a contender. Same thing happened here with New York, and they've won a couple of Stanley Cups. I mean, if this had actually happened, this would have been great for the league at this point because we're right in the late 20s. It's the Babe Ruth years in baseball where the Yankees are doing great, and this would have given the league another marquee franchise in New York with some great players: Frank Boucher, Cooney Whalen, Ace Bailey, King Clancy, all Hall of Famers. And so you can see why we're having a tough time with them. But I think we can still beat these guys. The other New York team, which in real life had kind of surpassed the Americans, was off and on, but they were probably a better franchise than them from this point on. They're taking a little more time to get going. They've got Charlie Conacher in the draft this year, so he will wind up being their big star going forward. But again, not really a contender yet. Ottawa had been the best team in the NHA years, where we started this game. They're getting old. They've replaced a few of their top forwards with new guys, but from the blue line back, they're just sort of crumbling. No real good goaltending. A couple of young defensemen that might turn into something, but right now they can't really compete with anybody in the league defensively, so they're going to need to score a lot of goals. Problem is, as we said before, this is the lowest scoring season in history. Pittsburgh, who's doing actually a little better, I think, than they did in real life in this game. They've got Lauren Chabot, who we traded a couple of years ago as their starting goalie, and then Normie Smith, who'd be the Wings goalie in the 30s, I think on into the 40s, coming up behind him. So they're in good shape. It's not going to do them a lot of good because we're about to hit the Great Depression, and they're going to move to Philadelphia for one season and then eventually go out of business. So they're doomed, but they've got a few good young players now.
Philadelphia becoming a great team name.
Yeah, for all of one season.
Mm-hmm.
One season or two.
Although
I think it was only one season.
They almost brought it back in the '67 expansion. It was one of the name chances.
Flyers works better, I think, though. And there's people I was asking. The Leafs, they're great in goal, good enough that they actually cut George Hainsworth because he was getting a little bit old. But they've got Tiny Thompson and Charlie Gardner, I think, are both in the Hall of Fame. Great goalies for Boston and Chicago in real life in goal. So they're probably going to have to move one of those for another player at some point, although I'm hoping they don't do it soon because that's going to make them, assuming they get a good return on it, a really good team. They've got depth pretty much everywhere else. Nell Stewart, who we traded to them for Howie Morenz to get him out of Toronto and back to Montreal, is full 5-star player as long as he stays healthy. He's had some injury problems with Toronto. Who else? We've got Larry Orey, who's number 6, is retired by the Red Wings in real life. Not a Hall of Famer, but very good player. And then a mixture of other guys, but a lot of 2.5, 3-star players. So an up-and-coming team. They're going to be a borderline contender. And that's back to the Bruins. So we've already looked at them. So let's get this started. I've gone through all the off-season stuff and done training camp and everything. So we're right up to the opening night. Big problem, our star player Howie Morenz is out with a virus. It's only day-to-day, but he is going to miss the opener against the Maroons.
That hurts.
So let's see. Oops. One sec there. I see Russ Blanco, who we've got. No, I don't want him as a screener. I want him as a playmaker. So he's going to fill in that role. Blanco was a decent player for the Maroons for a few years in real life. Wasn't a Canadian, but born in Quebec, so we can take him, and let's see how we do with him. And 3-0, a good way to start the season.
Not bad at all.
Yep, Pitt Lapin, who's the second-line center, steps up in Morenz's absence, and has a pretty good game. And there's just a couple of signings I did of guys whose contracts are expiring this year. Most importantly, Aurel Joliat, who's probably our second-best player, or maybe even approaching Morenz's level. Now we've got Johnny Gagnon, who's still, he's only 1 to 2 weeks away, so can't put him back in the lineup yet. And I'm going to have to send somebody down when we get all these guys back. Moren's still red and unhealthy, so we can't play him. Against the defending champion Americans, 3-3 tie this time. So we can stay even with them without our best player. That's hopefully a good sign. Morenz and Corbeau almost ready to come back. Still yellow injuries. Oh, Morenz is actually at 100%, so I'm going to throw him in, and let's hope he doesn't get hurt. See if we can keep the win streak going. Yep, another 3-0 win.
Excellent.
Although Alec Connell, very good in Bruins nets, 45 saves on 47 shots.
Greener comes in and says, the great 1928 season where a 3-goal game was high scoring.
Yep. So we can see
Jeff, were you watching this on TV then? Or just on radio?
Oh, we didn't have TVs then.
It was a joke about age, Jeff.
I know, I'm saying we didn't have TV. I was going along with it, Adam.
Okay, yeah.
Okay, so Bert Corbeau is healthy, so I can get him back in the lineup. And
actually, wait, wasn't this now, as Jeff continues to go here, part of what Jeff has done to build out the rosters, I think, Jeff, you're probably okay me saying this, is he's actually looked through census data before.
Well, no, it was a lot of player records. We're way past that point, but particularly for guys who only played like 1 or 2 games in the Western League or the NHA,
yeah,
they'll all will be for them in their records is an first initial.
Well, so, no, I know, yeah.
And we just somehow lost 3-1 to the Pirates. That's not good. So I went back and just tried to find guys of the correct name and age who were living in the city at that time, and was able to find a few who were probably the correct first name.
Yeah, well, my point on this was we were he was looking through census data and sharing some with me. There was I don't remember what year it was, but one of the questions on the census data literally asked, "Do you have a radio at home? Yes or no?"
Yep.
I'm like, oh, that's something the government wanted to know in the 1920s. I'm like, that's interesting.
And we do manage.
And I'm sure that eventually became TVs.
Yeah. And finally, we're getting our healthy guys back. Well, Gagnon is still day-to-day, but now I've got to activate Frank Finnegan, and I'm going to have to make the first roster decision. I sent Buswell down, who had been playing with us, just because he can't be claimed on waivers yet.
Yeah. Greener's come in and talked about the 22 shutouts in the chat too here now.
Yeah. Should mention that we're streaming on Steam as well as 2 different channels on Twitch. So if you don't see, we're talking about somebody in chat and you don't see it in the channel, they're in one of the other spots.
We're not crazy.
Well, not for that reason, at least.
Very true.
And Finnegan is healthy, but I don't really see a spot for him in the lineup yet. Oh, Keats' contract is expiring. I didn't notice that. Duke Keats was almost done at this point, but he seems to be hanging on a little later in the game than they did in real life. And I am giving him first line time, so we'll keep him there. Pittsburgh again. Can we do better this time? 2-2 tie. Not that much better. And how are the standings looking like? Right in the middle of the pack, although we only lost one game. And the Americans are undefeated. Pittsburgh not doing too bad. Leafs a little disappointing. Oh, Maroons kind of disappointing. I thought they were better than that. And the Senators are surprising. Senators will actually take a year off in a couple of years. And development report. The young guys coming along as expected, looks like. And yeah, Corbeau down, Keats down, Ryan down, yeah, okay. Stuff
Okay, so
I
what
really expected or didn't care about.
Pewux says only the shadow knows 1920s radio. Otter. OTR.
So let's see how the Senators do against us. And 2-1 in overtime for us.
All right, Jeff, what's worse? Is it having your team skip a year or skipping an entire draft class?
Probably skipping a year because. Wait, you're. Yeah, definitely skipping a year. I mean, at least what happened to the with the teams that did that in NHL history, it would be Quebec and Ottawa, and the outcome for neither one of those was very good. I mean, St. Louis skipped a draft class and recovered from it eventually. So it's not fatal, but if you're sitting out whole seasons, that's probably not saying very good things about your future. Okay,
Actually,
John.
I saw something that made me feel a little bit old too on Reddit here the other day.
What's that?
You go ahead with your thing. I gotta find it so I don't say it wrong.
Just sending Blinko back down to the minors, and Gagnon is probably going to have to go in for. Looking like. Actually, Belfoy may have to sit. Even though he's been a regular for a couple of years, because Lamb looks a little better than him. And now they've got all the players back, reset the lines. Actually, going to unlock. No, even with Keats unlocked, the AI wants to keep one top line, so we'll go with that.
Oh, what did you think about the Knights' new affiliate in the ECHL, by the way?
Oh, did they make that official? I was actually just updating the data in the game, and they hadn't done it yet as of a couple of days ago.
Yes, they did yesterday.
The Tahoe Night Monsters.
Yes.
Second best new minor league team of the season, minor league team name of this season.
Yes. Here it is on Reddit. Guy posting on hockey jerseys, because who doesn't like looking at old hockey jerseys? He says, found my dad's old Augusta Lynx jersey. Which, do you know what the trivia fact is about the Augusta Lynx?
Trying to remember anything about the ECHL team in Augusta, Georgia. Can't think anything. And yet another tie, 1-1 against the Hawks.
Number one, this made me feel really old because it's the kid saying my dad, and I'm like, oh, that feels sad. But no, they were the first ECHL team to fold mid-season.
It was a real honor.
Well, I mean, it seemed relevant thinking about this year when they had another one fold.
That was fairly late in the year, at least.
Almost had two,
And
I guess, for that matter.
speaking of Georgia teams, I said Tahoe is at the second best new minor league team name. The best would be the Athens Rock Lobsters. I really want to get one of those jerseys. The new Federal League team in Athens, Georgia.
Now, there's a question: Do you collect jerseys, Jeff?
I wouldn't say I really collect them. There's a few I like. I've got a Kansas City Scouts jersey on order, and I've got a Canucks Star Wars version, a couple other Canucks jerseys, and a couple of Russian ones from the '90s. Okay.
P-Log, did you take advantage of that?
Having a lot of really
Picture you
close
sent me?
calls here. 2-1 over Chicago, although we're still. How is Ottawa doing so well this year?
Because they've been a juggernaut for years, even if they're still
Yeah.
getting old.
Well, Cook's doing okay, and it's like Cameron, their goalie. He was a Leafs. No, he was never played in the NHL. So
I mean, I'm just trying to think. I have my collection of like Winnipeg Jets jerseys, but I don't. And I have jerseys from when I was a kid when you used to get jerseys for everything, but I don't really have any. I've never really gotten too much into the collecting things.
3-0 win over Detroit, and that gets Warders up to only 3 shutouts for the season so far. His goals against average is 1.09.
I guess I say that as I have been looking at possibly ordering another Jets jersey if I could find one for the right price.
And Ottawa beats us too, 3-1. And Battleship Leduc, out to the next laceration for 1 to 2 months. That's not good. So Buswell, the young guy, is going to have to come back up. Oh, and I guess Bert Covo has really slipped down the depth chart there. He's down to half a star. I'm going to try Bourgeot for a few games, I guess.
Nice screener. Where'd you get them from? Oh, there's a lot of jerseys. I mean, you could go flying down the rabbit hole. One of my prized possessions is still a Winnipeg Jets jersey from when I was young that has a giant blood streak in the middle of it still.
Yours or somebody else's?
Oh, mine.
What'd you do?
Ah, I don't remember exactly. I think it was probably a fight in the schoolyard. Still have nice white home jersey still has a big blood streak running right down the middle of it.
Yeah, at least we can keep shutting out Detroit. 2-0 again that time. And another development report.
I knew that was going to be the answer. Greener, how's the quality on those? Jeff wants to know.
From what? I can't see this yet.
He says he ordered from Royal Retros. He
Yeah,
ordered
that's
a
actually
Cleveland and a Calgary Cowboys.
Okay, this is a really alarming development report here. We've got a bunch of our decent players, and geez, Frank Finnegan's down to 1 star. He dropped 3 points. Keats going downhill, that's expected, but Howie Moran's losing a point.
I've actually ordered a couple
worrisome.
T-shirts from them, and they were nice. I was looking at jerseys.
And 2-2 tie against the Leafs. Larry Ori for the first star for them, 2 goals. Bourgeois up to 1.5 stars, and has a couple assists in his first 2 games. Try swapping. Let Buswell sit and put Corbeau back in. And we went in overtime against Ottawa. And they're right back against the Maroons. And they beat us again, 2-1. Having trouble against them this year. And great, another defenseman, Rick Buck Boucher this time, our captain. It's only day to day, so he doesn't have to go on the injured list. I forgot, have we got any? Nope, no dressing room problems. Everybody loves each other, and job security. The fans are very happy with us. The owner's very happy with us. So don't have to worry about anything on that front. Oops. Wanted to redo my lines there. Missed my chance. And we went in and out 3-1. Boucher almost back, but I think we'll go one more game without him. And we can beat the Maroons this time. 3-0 shutout for Warders. And Boucher is healthy. Try Johnny Gagnon up on the first line for a little while, see how that goes. Eventually that would be the big line for the Canadiens in the 20s and early 30s, Joliat, Moranz, and Gagnon. So I might as well try to get it working now, and pretty well apparently. 2 assists and first star for Gagnon, 4-1 win over Chicago.
Nice.
And now Boucher cut his ear, but he can stay in the lineup with that.
Well, he won't be able to hear you call his name anyways.
Didn't cut it off. And we get a narrow win over the defending Cup champion Americans. 2-1.
How do you know you didn't cut it off, huh? All right, P-Wog, we'll see you later.
I think there's a separate injury for major cut. And the other New York team now, the Rangers, also 2-1 against them.
Unless you mean something else.
And we're a little past halfway through the season. Ottawa is still hanging on. Surprisingly strong. And looks like, oh yeah, okay, Marty Berry's broken out this season for him. Great Red Wing, and I think Bruin for a while in real life. Yeah, Bruin and then Wing. And then 1 season with the Canadiens. And we've got, well, Moranz is in the top 4 for goals, but we got nobody else really in the leaders other than Warders, the goalie. And Jack Cameron, the Ottawa goalie, having a pretty spectacular year, although he's still rated only 1 star. And should be able to beat the Rangers again. We do 5-2. I think that's our biggest scoring game of the year. Let's see if there's anybody I should be changing in. Don't think so. Depth chart. Oh, Finnegan's really sliding down there.
Are you past the trade deadline?
Don't think so. Coming up on it must be. January 31st,
Frank.
9 days away.
Maybe put Frank on the trade block, see if there's anything.
He's already there.
Oh, is he? Okay.
Yep, I'll shop him at the deadline or shortly before. But I think I may get an offer for him.
Yeah, at least the day before.
And another 3-0 shutout. Popular score this season. Yeah, there's a trade deadline warning message. Corbeau really not doing great. I'm going to try Buzzwell back in there. And again, Ottawa beats us 2-1. And we are at the trading deadline now. So no deals offered. Let's see if I can get anything at all for Finnegan. Oh, whoops, that was Duke Keats. I did not mean to do that. Although Keats is declining. Getting some young guys offered for him. Leo LaFrance from the Maroons, who I think qualifies on, well, he's French Canadian and he played for the Canadiens. That would be an interesting option.
From Sudbury. He's not French Canadian.
You think there are no French Canadian people in Sudbury?
No, they're only in Quebec, Jeff.
My late Uncle Bob would have an argument with you. Back to the shopping screen. I think I kind of like that. I mean, the Keats is good for another season or so. LaFrance is only 26. Yeah, I'm going to do that. Even though it was unintentional that I made the offer. And I do have other good right wings. So let's try actually shopping the guy I intended to shop for our other shopping attempt, and nobody wants him. So Belfry goes into the lineup, or no, LaFrance will go into the lineup. May not help us immediately, but that will keep us a little steadier down the road because the team is starting to get older, and the roll is fine. So that Keats for LaFrance will be the one trade I make. Oops, didn't give LaFrance a jersey number. Well, no, it's open. I could have given Finnegan's number because Finnegan is on borrowed time right now, but no. And 3-2 win over the Leafs. Well, January 31st, I had the trade deadline wrong. I can try that trade again. What were you going to say?
I was going to say, nothing would tell the guy like he's done, like you're forcing him to give up his number.
A little cold, though. No, nobody wants Finnegan. What if I... Any young guys I'm out here. What about throw in Paul Haynes, who may not have any use for, and if I shop them together, do I get anything? I do get some offers. Elderly Jack Adams, don't think so, don't want that. Ty Arbor and Miles Lane from Chicago. Lane was an okay defenseman for a few years, I think. Nah, Detroit, very elderly Corb Denny. That's going in the wrong direction. Maroons offering a couple of spare parts, it looks like. That's Adams. I want to have stars. Here's a slight improvement, but well, I don't think so, but I'll come back to that in a sec. Rangers, Perry Watson, who had been with us. And Spiro, no, not very good. Old guys from Ottawa. And nobody too impressive from the Pirates. And a couple of old guys, and we're not that good to begin with from Toronto, so no. What about that Maroons for Ted Graham? Doesn't really fit our rules, but I'd maybe bend it in this case.
Oh.
This
is what happens when you don't win for a while, huh? Just willing to throw everything out.
Yeah, and Adams, Calgary, I don't think he's, never was, okay, that's probably stretching it 2 months if I took two guys who don't qualify through any of our rules, so I think we're going to stick with the roster as it is for now. And Morenz and Waters, our two guys, are the players of the month. We are still only tied with Ottawa for first place, so this game here will change that. Owner is satisfied. And a 1-0 win for us. Puts us in first in the league and in the division, and at a big cost apparently. Tell me this isn't a major injury. No, it isn't. Moran's lacerated his hand 1 or 2 weeks. Not a big deal. Put a Band-Aid on it. We're good to go. In fact, I'm going to keep playing him through this because we've got the extra center and LaFrance in the lineup. 3-1 win over Detroit. Oh, and no, Ottawa still. Oh, yeah, Ottawa had a game in hand over us, so they're still even with us. And New York, surprisingly, only in third, but still fairly strong. We got the Rangers first, and I think we play the Americans again. Islanders won't be along for another 40 years or so, 43 years.
Couple.
2-1 win over the Rangers, and now we lose another center. Lepin is a little bronchitis 1 or 2 weeks, so not good. I'm going to have to put Belfoy in, and we'll shuffle the lines a little. Oh, it's Pittsburgh. Thought that was the Americans, so a little easier for us. 3-1 win. Although they put up a... Oh, no, that's... I keep thinking Chabot is ours, still our goalie is theirs. Oh, and did... Okay, oh, no, yeah, it's bronchitis. Day Morin should hopefully be getting healthy soon. Now we drop a 3-0 loss to the Hawks. That's a little disappointing. Moran's almost healthy again. Whoops, I forgot to redo the lines. Although we still come out of it, the big 5-0 win over Toronto. A little
Good.
Embarrassing for them. And now our other center, Leo LaFrance, gets injured 1 to 2 weeks with a sore wrist. So Frank Finnegan will finally get a game. And I guess Leduc was... Oh, he's right. Forgot Leduc was
right.
still on the injured list. Yeah, I forgot I'd put him on the injured list. He's still day-to-day, so I'll leave him on there for a couple more days. Hopefully he'll be back momentarily. Yet another shutout, 3-0 over the Maroons. And what's the Roy Werder shutout count at? Only 10. So he's not going to match Ainsworth, although he's within 0.1 of his goals against average. Morenz is fully healthy again, and Leduc is as well. So we got all of our D back.
So you're saying there's a chance?
Looking pretty good. As well, since he can be sent to the minors without waivers, we'll do that. And despite the injuries, 2-0 win over the Americans. But now it's Leo Bourgeau who's hurt. Oh, that's going to be gone for a while. Broken pelvis, 2 to 3 months. So, back up you come yet again, Walt Buswell. And Bourgeau onto the injured list. And Lepin is day-to-day, as is LaFrance. Not sure why that number 5 isn't sticking to Buswell. It's supposed to in that case, but I have to keep reassigning it. Nope, nobody healthy yet. And, yeah, Pittsburgh's got our number for some reason this year. They're not very good, but they keep beating us. 4-1 this time. And 7 games left in the regular season. Up up against the Leafs, who haven't done well against us this year. But they do come out with a 1-0 overtime win this time. And the injuries continue. Johnny Shepard this time, strained tricep, 2 or 3 weeks, so I'm going to have to call somebody up here.
Why are you trying to get everybody hurt?
I'm trying to. It's just sort of happening. Nick Wozni, the guy we got in the trade for Billy Boucher, gets a look. I'm going to put somebody on the injured list. Going to have to do it with Lapin because I think he was the first one to get injured, and his counter should be fairly low. Yeah, it's only 2, so don't think he'll be healthy by the time that runs out. Nope, not delaying treatment for Shepard. He can get healthy normally. And sure it was. They can have 16. And our 2 centers are almost back. We are 1 point behind Ottawa still. Well, I guess they weren't just a fluke. They kept that going through the whole year. And narrow 2-1 win over Boston, but 2 points is 2 points. And Lapin is able to come back now and is completely healthy and his counter's up, so I can put Shepard on the injured list now. And Finnegan, I think, comes out. Oh, looks like we'll get LaFrance back as well. That's good. So Wozni goes back in. And Finnegan, nobody wants him anyhow, so I'm going to send him down. Now watch somebody claim him. And Ottawa, which may, this game may settle first place in the division. Or not, because it's a 1-1 tie. Settles absolutely nothing. And keeps them 1 point ahead of us, although we've got 2 games in hand. So let's take advantage of those. 3-1 win over Detroit, who we've beaten pretty much all year long. Johnny Shepard nearly ready to come back, and that puts us 1 point ahead of Ottawa. And now the Americans really need a win here. And 2-0 shutout over the defending Cup champions. At the cost of Pete Belfoy, who's out for 1 or 2 weeks with a sore wrist. So Wozni getting back in. Shepard sounds really close. Get another one against Montreal Maroons here, hopefully. Yep, 3-1. And we are at 65 points, 5 points up on Ottawa with only 1 game left. So we have clinched first in the league and first in the division. And you'll see it in a minute, but there's a really stupid playoff system this year. Nothing game at the end of the year against the Leafs. Let's not get anybody hurt here. We let them win 2-0. Now, if I'm remembering correctly, the way the playoffs work this year, the 2 and 3 teams in each of the divisions play against each other. So in this case, it would be the Senators and the Americans, and they playing against each other, and the Hawks and the Pirates. The winners of those 2 series play each other for some stupid reason in one of the semifinals, and the other semifinal is between us and the Bruins, the first place team in the American division.
Of course.
Why the league did that, I have no idea. I would think they would keep the divisions apart until the final series, which is what they've been doing up till now, but apparently not. Now, Joe Primo, I guess, had a breakout year for the Maroons, 43 points. Nobody managing a point per game this year. And Jaime Morantz leads the league in goals for us. quick look at our stats. Joliat leads the team in points. Morin's only 7 assists, so kind of a low point total. And then Lepin and Gagnon, 2 guys who were injured a lot, put up a few points. Well, France, the guy we traded for in mid-season, didn't do much with us, but had some points with Montreal prior to the Maroons prior to that. And I'm looking for here, goalie stats. Roy Waters played every minute of every game. Only 13 shutouts. Only. But it does get the goals against average just under 1. And just some curious, George Ainsworth, because he had the 22 shutout season in real life, gets 8 shutouts, and goals against average is nearly double what the actual one was, but he was playing on a much worse team here. No, Leafs finished dead last. Bit of a surprise, although it's a tough division. And the Senators.
Are you feeling bad that the Leafs finished last?
Not at all. Yeah, it looks like some of their young defensemen actually came through for the Senators this year. I think that's Gene Chouinard. I think we drafted him at one point, but never signed him. And the questionable goaltending seems to have held on for them, although I see they've lost Reg Noble for the rest of the season. So that is going to hurt them in the playoffs. So let's go through the playoffs and see what we get here. How's our injury situation first? Rougeau still gone. Shepard almost back. In fact, I can call him up. So I remember these series were staggered, so 2-game total goal series, yeah, Ottawa and Chicago. So, they crossed the divisions. I was wrong about that. They don't. It's not 2 and 3 in each division against each other. It's 2 from one division against 3 from the other division, or is it 2-2? Ottawa was second. Yeah, see, it's completely bizarre. This is the real system. It's in a system. I don't know why they did it, but the second place teams play each other. Other than the third place teams play each other. Then the 2 of them play for a shot at the finals. And meanwhile, it's us and Boston in the other series, the 2 divisional champions, who you think would be separated until the finals, but no, apparently not. So the Americans and the Senators get through. It'll be a decent series, and us against Boston, who we've had no real problems with them this year. Have they got any injuries? Yeah, well, McVeigh, starting pretty good defenseman, is gone for the season. Our old goalie, Alec Connell, our old third-string goalie, Alec Connell, in goal, had a pretty good year. Oh, and the guy we traded, Billy Boucher, is their number 2 scorer. So anything I want to change with our line? Oh yeah, Shepard is healthy. So Wozni goes out for him. Wozni, the guy we traded for Boucher, or got for Boucher. Yeah, that looks about right. So the opening game against Boston, best of 3 series. And 4-1 win for us. But we do lose Buzzwell, second-line defenseman, for 1 to 2 weeks. So the veteran Bert Corbeau back in the lineup for one last shot. And development for him. Morin's went down again. And oh, geez. That's really worrying. Have to fiddle with the training a little next year to prop up some of the not so old guys, I guess.
Oh yeah, that's not great when you've been trading away some of those guys, or some of our younger guys.
Okay, yeah, I'll go with this lineup for game 2. And 3-2-1 win. We get past them. It's close. So we're about to shut this down against Boston. At home in Montreal for Game 3, and a 3-0 shutout for Roy Warders. And that's a sweep in the series. But now we lost Johnny Gagnon again. Who broke his leg. Great. 1 to 2 months with a fractured tibia.
Just what you need in the playoffs.
Yep, so Pete Belfoy, who hasn't played a lot this season, gets back into the lineup. Oh, wait. Johnny Gagnon is going to complete the playoffs with a broken leg. About to become a legend. So we're going to delay treatment on that. We're going to... Well, I guess they didn't have cortisone shots in 1929, but do whatever they did back in the day, rub some dirt on it, and he's staying in the lineup. And it looks like we're in the final.
I was going to say probably just 3 shots of whiskey.
Yeah. The defending Cup champion Americans who've knocked off Ottawa. And, of course, this playoff system makes no sense at all now after a 5-game series, best of 3, best of 5 series in the semifinals. It's only a best of 3 in the final. Why?
Of course.
Don't
Gotta
know.
cut down that trouble.
Yep, ask the NHL in 1929. But Game 1 against the Americans. Gagnon with a broken leg, playing on it regardless. And we get shut out 2-0. How did Gagnon do? Not badly. Good defensive game. He was -1. And he held up despite playing 20 minutes on it. So we'll see what his fitness looks like for the second game. Oh, jeez. Of all the times, now Howie Moran picks up a minor injury. And no, I can't even delay this one. So Gagnon's at 80%. I'm going to have to put Belfoy back in. We're going to have to juggle the lines. Oh, at least Buswell is not quite fit, but healthy enough to play. So I'm going to take Corbeau out for this game if I do that. Yeah, I guess that's... Oh, no, wait. Put Lamb on the first line and bump their ice time up. Not optimistic that we can stretch this to a 3rd game, but let's see. Yeah, the Americans crush us 5-2, winning their 3rd consecutive Stanley Cup, but only because we had a bunch of injuries. So they beat Pittsburgh in the 2-game total goal series. The only team that managed to beat them was Ottawa in the semifinals. They were able to take 1 game, but they're the American superstars, and they're incredibly old goalie, 36 years old, Clint Benedict. Did he last this long in real life?
Yes, I looked this up. 1930 he ended. Yeah.
29-30, so he's got 1 more season in him. Yeah, okay.
Yeah. Greener says the best of 3 finals against the Canadian division team called the Americans.
Yep. And you can see where the scoring goes in the season. So, Benedict had a 1.49 average in real life and then doubles to 3 the following season. That was pretty common for the goalies. I only played 33 games this season, so they rested him a little bit. And that's Mickey Murray, our 3rd stringer from last season. Is their backup now. So that is a disappointment. And Gagnon was playing with injury, team reveals. Yep. We'll take a quick look at how our playoff scoring looked. Babe Seaver leading us in scoring. Didn't get a lot from anybody else. A little disappointing from our Joliat, only 2 points in 5 games. And the goalies, Warders, not bad, 1.4 goals against average in 5 games. but just not enough to get it done. So let's move this along. We'll get everybody healthy again. And should be able to get the draft in. I think we got a few minutes left. 39-5, first in the league, and we still don't win the cup. And the awards, Joe Primo of the Maroons gets the Hart Trophy, he's the MVP. The old Clint Benedict, wow, 4 shutouts in the playoffs, not bad for an old guy. Wins the Smythe as the playoff MVP, and our Roy Waters gets the Vezina. And just going to roll this around to the new year. I'll take a quick look here to make sure I've got nobody expiring that I want to keep. Let's see here. Oh, maybe I do want to. Oh, he doesn't want to re-sign. Okay.
Oops.
Lugs is only half-star potential, so I don't care if I lose him. Irvin has 1 star there. I'll just keep him around for the sake of. Oh, nope, he doesn't want to re-sign either. And Langlois is 1 star, but he's 34, so we'll let him walk. Re-signing a couple of my staff. And decent season score. Just didn't get the championship, and I'm already maxed out on the ratings, so I can't do anything with those points. And over to the new year, see if anybody retires. Oh, lost a couple of scouts apparently, and 1 coach.
I guess it feels like someone's going to retire.
Owner was not happy we didn't win the championship, so that's not great. No changes to the league, but what's coming up, we are now about 4 months away from the stock market crash at the end of October 1929, and that's where things start to get ugly for the league. So this is kind of the high point of the league for a while. Then we're going to see teams starting to fade out. Pittsburgh, as I said, winds up moving to Philadelphia. Ottawa takes their season off. And then other teams start struggling financially. The Maroons and the Americans wind up disappearing, and eventually the league winds up down to 6 teams, which for some reason are called the original 6, even though most of them weren't original. And I'll fix those holes in the staff quickly. What were you going to say?
No, I was just thinking in my brain as I was typing something and not getting the correct words out.
Look at scouting. It's the rest of Canada. We're down to light blue in Quebec. I think I need a couple of guys here. That guy's 67, so he's not going to be around long, but we'll take it. And that gets us back into the blue in the places that matter for us. And on to the draft, although we're not going to be able to get very much because we're drafting pretty late. Oh, suddenly Detroit wants Frank Finnegan. I've got no use for him, and Giroux is a French enough name, so I'll take it. He's only 21. Even if
Frank had been on the team quite a while, hadn't he?
Let's see. Oh yeah, longer than I thought. 22. Had some big years in real life, but never really took off for us. Although he's going to apparently stick around till the mid-late 30s, so he's got a few years left in him. And what's the other news?
He matches his real life.
And here's the draft. Sid Howe, no relation to Gordy, but still a Red Wing great. Top one overall, Sweeney Schreiner. I think he was best known for playing for the Americans, if I remember right. Yeah, Americans and then on for the Leafs, so. Great winger for a few years. Mike Caracas, good goalie in Chicago. Busher Jackson, a Leaf great. Earl Siebert, who I think is the brother of our Babe Siebert. So if he's there, I will draft him just on that, even though he doesn't technically meet the requirements. But I don't think he's going to be available for us. And then it drops off after that. So draft order is Detroit going first, and yeah, we're not going till 10, so we're not going to get much useful here. Sid Howe, not surprisingly, goes to the Cougars, who will eventually become the Wings. Busher Jackson to the Rangers at the second pick, with the second pick. Sweeney Schreiner to the Leafs. Buzzball, great name, to the Maroons.
That is a fantastic name.
And Siebert to the Pirates. Mike Caracas, the American goalie, still hanging around. Charlie Sands to Chicago instead of taking Siebert. Finally, the Bruins take him. And I think he's from Massachusetts. Aurora, Minnesota. No. Let the Bruins get an American goalie to play for them. And Alice Crutchfield to the Americans. And is this us? No, the Senators. Ralph Bowman, who was nicknamed Scotty, but for obvious reasons isn't the best known Scotty Bowman. And wow, we're down to the international guys already. Are any of these guys... Okay, Bill McKenzie played for the Canadiens in real life, so that may be our best option. He's a defenseman. We could use one of those. And that's our potential. Gord Pettinger. Nope, born in the UK. Ralph Redding, don't recognize the name. Nope. Farquharson. Likewise. And Alex Wood. One game for the Americans in real life, so we're going to go with Bill McKenzie. So Bill McKenzie played goal for the Rockies in the 70s, and I don't think he made it to the 80s, but different guy. And yeah, now we're kind of into the dregs of the draft here. I'll just quickly scan through these and see if we've got any actual Canadians. Oh, there we go. John Duran. 6 games for the Canadiens in 1939. So we'll shore up the defenseman a little bit because we had some injury problems there last year. I'm wondering if Bert Corbeau retired. I didn't look for that yet. I didn't see any announcement. Not seeing a lot of options here. Hickey Nicholson, not a bad name. trying Hank Lausanne, but he's from Vancouver, but Lausanne sounds French enough, so we'll go with him. I mean, we're probably not ever going to use any of these guys in the game.
Take the guy from France.
Nope, we got a guy from Montreal, Alexander Sinclair. So yet another unproductive draft for us, which is starting to worry me.
Was Montreal bad at this time in real life?
They were up. They were still decent at this point. They were up and down for the 30s. They didn't win a cup between 31 and 44, I think. And they had there was one season where they were like a 260 winning percentage. After it was basically when Moran's went downhill, they ran into trouble. And yeah, did any of these guys? Yeah, starting to look good that I didn't trade away Haynes because we may need him. Well, unless you're the guy who wouldn't resign with us, will he resign now? Oh, he will. Okay. So we will have some depth on defense, although Corbeau is stuck around. Wow. We've had him since almost the beginning. First season with us, 1912 in the NHA. And 286 NHL games and 84 NHA games. I think he might be our... Oh, I can check. Games played leader. Oh, no, that's Buck Boucher. Corbeau's number 3 behind Sprout Cleghorn, who must be retired by now. Oh, there's Joliet climbing up there pretty rapidly. So heading into the next season, we've got, I mean, it's concerning the way some of the older guys in their middle 20s are starting to decline, so I'm going to have to, when I go into training, I'll shore that up a little, make sure they're getting some extra training time to try and stall those declines as long as possible. And various younger guys coming up behind them. We've got nobody, yeah, literally nobody over the age of 30 as a forward. D is getting a little bit old, but we've got, yeah, the key guys are still in their 20s. I mean, players tend to decline a little earlier in this era, but still, we're reasonably young. And quick look at the news. Is there any? Yeah, see, I don't see any major player retirements. Did the Americans get any worse? Apparently not. If anything, they maybe look a little better this year, other than Benedict continuing to decline, although he's been stuck at 1.5 stars for quite a while now. Any free agents out there that might be of interest? Well, Milt Halliday, 2-star potential from Ottawa, but yeah, no, doesn't really fit our house rules. And beyond that, Sam Godin, French-Canadian name, and okay, from Rockland, just over the border in Ontario, and played for the Canadiens, so I think I will offer him a contract. But that will be it as far as free agents go. And yeah, it's really like Buswell to come along, start coming along, get at least off that half-star. But for defense next season, Peugeot and Seibert, basically the same lineup, Boucher and Leduc. Forwards mostly unchanged. Obviously, Moran's is going to be going back in. And some of the younger guys coming along. I think we'll still be in decent shape next year, but problem is the Americans are still pretty good. And then whatever went on with the Senators last year somehow made them into contenders again. So I'll just advance that. And I think you want to wrap it up here, Adam?
Sure. So with that, thank you very much for tuning in to another Franchise Hockey Manager stream. We typically stream every Wednesday night at 11 p.m. Eastern now on twitch.tv/Franchise Hockey Manager, as well as twitch.tv/OOTV Developments. All of our streams are archived on our YouTube channel, which is youtube.com/OOTV Developments as well, with our archives going live at about 3 a.m. Eastern Standard Time for European viewers. You can also reach out to us on our Facebook page, which is facebook.com/Franchise Hockey Manager. On Twitter, we're at Franchise Hockey. You can find a link to our official Discord in our Twitter bio, or come on down to our official website, which is ootpdevelopments.com. Click on the community button in the top right-hand corner, which will bring you to our official forums where you can come talk about Franchise Hockey Manager, Out of the Park Baseball, Perfect Team Go, or anything else you wish to discuss. I guess we didn't really mention it before, but there was a maintenance update that came out last week for FHM 10, which your game should have updated unless you have the standalone version, in which case you can visit our forums to get that update. And that's probably the last update, Jeff, I would say, for FHM 10.
Definitely got to get spend our time on the new on FHM 11 now. But there's just a couple of small things that we wanted to get fixed, and we're able to fix relatively quickly without risk of breaking anything else, so we threw out one more update. But that should likely be it for now. But other than that, I guess we will be back to this game in 2 weeks, see if I can finally win the cup back from the Americans. But before that, we'll be back next week with Adam's Penguins game. Where did we leave off in that one?
I think we were right around the holiday break, December.
Oh, did we get that far in?
Something. Yeah, we went farther than I thought we were going to. Let me just take a quick peek here.
Oh yeah, we stayed on quite a while. That's right.
Yeah, 12-12. So we were mid-December.
Okay.
And doing surprisingly well, yes.
So we'll be able to fail in the playoffs at least one more time.
How dare you? How dare you?
Considering I've lost how many finals or semifinals in a row now, I probably shouldn't be talking. But yeah, the three-time cup defending cup champion New York Americans who never won a cup in real life. But it helps having a bunch of Hall of Famers on your team. So thanks everybody for coming out, and we will see you back here a week from now.